Oh, okay, so I guess everyone in here kind of knows the situation I'm in. I was hit October 30th and broke my C2 vertebrae in 3 places, and kind of a statistic for that is 98% of the people that break their C2 in a high impact, whether it's a car accident or a sports injury or whatever it is, 98% of the people die instantly. Of those 2% of the people that don't die, it's about 98 to 99 are quadriplegics, and that 1% that goes past being a quadriplegic is usually put on a ventilator and has kind of a 2-year lifespan. So when I stand here right now, it's kind of it's tough to grasp even for me. I'm going to just kind of tell you a little bit about how everything went, and how whether you want to call it luck or faith or whatever it is, it was on my side. So once I was hit, I was laying on the ice in a pretty weird position, kind of a position that you'd never see yourself in normally. So I kind of thought I just broke my arm, and then when I went to get up, I couldn't move anything, and got pretty nervous. It was about 20 seconds until the trainer, Aaron Liu, came, and those 20 seconds, that felt like 2 hours to me. Being alone and not being able to move, and thinking to yourself that you've broken your neck or your back is probably the scariest feeling I'll ever feel. And I really hope no one ever has to go through that. But once Aaron got there, I have a pretty good relationship with Aaron, so he was pretty straightforward and said, that kind of put it right out there for me that I either broke my back or I broke my neck. And from there, he just said, just stay calm and stay patient, and I was. And the ambulance came, and I was put on the stretcher, and as I was put on the stretcher, there was the loudest crack I've ever heard. And so now I'm thinking, well, if I wasn't paralyzed, well, I'm for sure paralyzed now. So, and the EMT who was holding my neck, I just said, did you hear that? And he was like, uh-huh. And he turned completely white, and I was thinking, oh my God, this guy's gonna faint on me. And I just pretty much told him to, stay with me. So it went from kind of me being scared to now me being really scared about, 2 of us going in an ambulance on the stretcher. So once we kind of got in the ambulance, there was a bunch of people around, and all of a sudden the North Dakota doctor comes in and says, I think you broke your collarbone. And I looked around and I said, who invited this guy? I can't feel anything. I'm pretty sure I didn't break my collarbone. He goes, no, I think you did. And then I said, well, how likely is it to re-break your collarbone? And he goes, oh, that never happens. I said, well, I broke that collarbone when I was 14. He goes, oh. And so then that was the last we saw of him. But then I was taken to the North Dakota hospital, and there, it was kind of a little bit more serious, and you could hear the doctors kind of whispering a little bit back and forth. And once I got the equipment off, which was a complete struggle, and you would think from being from North Dakota they would have no problem understanding hockey equipment, but they didn't. So from there, I had the MRI, and the doctor just looked at me, and he was pretty scared, and he said, we need to get you to Minneapolis because this is something that is above and beyond what we can handle. And so I was stabilized in a neck brace kind of thing and on a hard board. Then I was flown to Hennepin County in Minneapolis, and there they did a bunch of MRIs and a bunch of tests, and discovered that there was, in fact, 3 fractures in the C2, and they were in complete shock that I was even, alive. And kind of on that way, that trip, my, right before I left, my feet and fingers, they started to twitch, and they told me not to get too excited because that is common when someone is still a quadriplegic. Their nerve endings still twitch at the end. So I was kind of excited that they were doing that, and at the same time, staying grounded and understanding that it doesn't mean that I'm healed. So once I got to Hennepin County, they wanted to fuse my neck immediately. And for those of you that don't know, I had no idea about this, but fusing your neck kind of means that they just attach all your vertebrae together where the injury is, and it would be like I would be wearing a neck brace for the rest of my life without wearing a neck brace type deal. I'd be the guy that has to do the full turn and everything like that. So hockey would have definitely been another question, and driving, things like that. It would have been a complete life-altering decision, and they told my parents that that was the only safe way for me to survive. And my parents were really scared and quite nervous about the whole thing, and were on board with it until last minute. My dad kind of thought to himself, why on earth have I not got a second opinion? I mean, when you get your driveway poured, when you get, you renovate your house, you get a second opinion. And this time it's my son's life, and I'm just going to go with it. So he kind of clued in, I guess you could say, and he sent the film to Atlanta. They were a team that I was drafted by, and they were fantastic throughout the whole thing. They immediately said, we want to help, and so my dad sent the film there, and he also sent the film back to Denver. Both of the doctors that saw the film said, hold on, wait a minute, there is so many other options available before we go ahead and fuse your neck. I mean, that is a last resort option. And it just so happened that 20 minutes down the road was Regions Hospital, and Dr. McCarthy that works for us in CU, he knew a doctor there that was put in contact with the surgical unit for spines, and he called over to Hennepin and asked for the films to be sent over, and because they were competing hospitals, Hennepin refused to send the film over, and I'm just so fortunate that my surgeons, as good a surgeons as they are twice, 10 times the people. They are just the greatest guys in the world. So Dr. Mendez got in his car and he drove over and he picked the film up and he looked at it and he said, you need to come with me. And after that, I was fully on board with trying something else before fusing my neck. So we went to Regions Hospital, and I was there in bed for 8 days while they tried to figure out what to do. 2 days before my surgery, they found out that the only reason I survived the incident was because during the hit, your vertebrae, when you get hit, are it's like a cigar cutter, and it'd be like the 2 vertebrae coming across one another. And when I got hit, the top vertebrae, a bone chip fell off and fell in between the 2 vertebrae and stopped it from severing my spinal cord. And once he found that out, he was pretty much beside himself because he'd never seen anything like it. And for me, that was a little bit overwhelming to hear and to deal with. It was very difficult. And for most people, you think you'd be pretty happy to hear that and whatnot, but to hear that your entire life was that close to being gone really sets you back, and it really makes you think about things. So, just give me a second here. So after they discovered that, they kind of put in place a plan for surgery, and it was the 10th day. I went back in to surgery, and they went in through the front of my neck and moved my vocal cords and everything else that's in the way, kind of to the side, and they put a screw through the 3 fractures and into the next vertebrae. And to give you kind of an idea of the good fortune I had, there's 5 hospitals in North America that are even willing to perform that surgery, and I just so happened to be flown 20 minutes, away from one. So once again, something just happened to work out for me. I woke up from surgery, tubes everywhere, real scared about everything, because you don't know if it worked and you don't know what they did or what they had to do, because if it goes wrong, then they do have to fuse you. So I woke up in a halo, and a halo goes in through the layers of skin till it touches your skull, and it goes in 4 places. And I woke up wearing that, and I was pretty nervous, but then I looked at my mom and dad, and they were just crying, and they were just so scared. Because when you look at someone in a halo, obviously you think the worst. So I just reminded my mom that, this halo comes with HD cable, so there's you don't have to worry about it, because we're fine. And we get the movie channels, so that kind of helps her out a little bit. And so I was in bed then for 2 days, and then they decided to try to help me walk, see if I could walk, because after you're in bed for laying on your back for 10 days, not being able to move anything, they don't let you move anything, you kind of lose, I don't even know what the percentage of muscle is, but the muscle memory goes away pretty quick. But then it comes back pretty quick. So I stood up, and I walked 2 steps, and that's all I had. That's all I could do. My legs were shaking, and once again, my family, my girlfriend's family was there, and they're all, having a hard time with it. And that was really a moment for myself and for my family to kind of understand that, whether or not I play hockey again, I'm going to be able to have a way of life that is going to be able to, not hold me back from, maybe from sports, but not from, the rest of your life. Because the weird thing is, when I was laying on the ice for that 20 seconds without anyone around, it felt like I could go through everything that was important to me. And hockey never once came into my mind. And I'm not saying hockey is not important to me, because I've played the game for 18 years, and I, absolutely love competing. I love being a part of a team, and especially this team that I was on. But what went through my mind was my family, being able to take care of myself, being able to have a family, have a kid, and teach my kid how to skate. That kind of stuff really is a lot different than going out Friday and Saturday night and playing hockey. It's a lot. It's just quite a bigger scale. So once I took those couple steps, things kind of changed. I kind of adapted a new mindset to things. There was lots of people that came into my room that said they were so sorry for me. I'm so sorry for you. And that happened daily. And for me, that was the last thing I wanted to hear, because everyone was so focused on what I didn't have. And it's not like hockey was, I didn't look at it like hockey was taken away from me. The way I looked at it was that my life was given to me. And so I really did not even for 1 second feel sorry for myself, because I felt like I was the luckiest guy in the world. So I stayed at Regions Hospital for another 10 days, I think it was, and then I was transferred to Craig Hospital here, and I'm going to give you guys a little plug. It's a fantastic place to be. They don't have I'm not going to put a label on what kind of doctors they have or therapists they have, but it's the way they interact, you with the other patients, that makes it such a wonderful place. I would go to physical therapy twice a day, and they do physical therapy in an open room with everyone. And it was after just coming through such a hard time, to be able to walk into that room should have felt unbelievable. I should have felt, like I said, my life was given to me. But I walked into that room and quickly realized that I was the only patient that walks in the entire therapy room. And that was something that was extremely difficult for me to handle. I would go through my therapy, and I'm doing lunges and squats, and I'm looking over and someone's learning how to control their wheelchair with a straw or with their head, and you realize that is, where, I don't want to say where you should be, but, if you like odds, that's exactly where you should be. And that was really hard for me, and for the first 4 days that I was there, I would come back every day after physical therapy, and I would, just be overwhelmed and then break down and just think to myself, why on earth did I get this gift when I'm looking around and there's moms and dads and sons and that are all great people, and they weren't so fortunate. And that really took me quite a long time, because I always thought that the other patients and their families would look at me and they would kind of think to themselves, why isn't that my dad? Why isn't that my mom? And that was something that really didn't sit well for me, because I really did care about those people that I met, and that was something that was really, really hard for me to go through. It wasn't until the 5th day that I was there, and there was a patient by the name Dr. Gary is what everyone called him, and he'd been there quite a while, and he had been pretty emotionless. His story was he goes to the beach, once a year with his wife, and he's in 3 feet of water, and a wave hits him from behind, and he falls down on the sand, and his chin hits the sand, and he breaks his C2, instantaneously quadriplegic. And he had a hard time with it, and I couldn't relate, but I could understand that there are stages that you go through when you have such a big change to your lifestyle and whatnot. And he came out to me on the 5th day of therapy, and I thought to myself, oh, great, I'm probably gonna get it from this guy. And he came up with his wife, and he started crying, and he said, I understand we have the same injury. And I said, yep, I heard that too. And he said, I just wanted to let you know how grateful and thankful I am that you will never have to go through anything that I went through, that you're going to have a life to live, and I want you to live it to the fullest. And kind of, when he said that, kind of really made a big impact on me, because he said that we don't look at you as something that we're bitter about. We look at you as a sign of hope, and you're an inspiration to everyone in this room. And for him to say that to me after everything he's been through, it's amazing that a quadriplegic can brighten your day when you've gotten every bounce, every stroke of luck to go your way, and you're still upset about things, and yet someone that his life will never be the same or even close to the same, that they can boost your spirits. That was something that really motivated me, and that was something that really hit home when I went back to my room. So I began then to interact with the patients, and I wasn't afraid anymore to talk with them or their families, because once you got to know these people, they're such great people, and it was only a second in time that changed their lives. Didn't change who they were. What it did was it changed, how they got around, I guess. And, we went for, they call it a walk, walk to get coffee, and I'm the only one walking. And so, I couldn't, be more humbled by these people. And not only did I take away a lot of inspiration from those patients and those friends, but they gave me the will to keep going and not feel sorry for myself, because so what if you can't play hockey again? So what? It's going to end sometime. But when the doctor said to me, "What's more important to you? Is it more important for you to take that next stride, or is it more important for you to have teach your son take that next stride on the ice?" And I said, "Obviously, it's for my son." And that was really hard to grasp, because I want to play hockey and I want to do all those things, and to be able to learn to really focus on only what you can control is something that is. You think it's easy to just, I'm just going to focus on what I can control. Yet every day I get up and my left arm is still completely numb, and every day I think about, when is that going to go away? And the truth is, it might never go away. It has 2 years to get better, and if it doesn't get better after that, then it is what it is. But if you would have told me when I was laying on the ice that I'd come away with sore neck and, numb arm, I guess, I said I would have taken it hands down. So that was kind of, my story. After I went to Craig, I was released after 8 days, and I missed being there for the first couple weeks, but I went back home to Edmonton and just had so much support from my family, my girlfriend, her family, my friends, my teammates. It was nonstop. The first day I was at Craig's, I had teammates coming the whole time I was there, and it meant the world to me to have them there. So I guess at the end I just wanted to kind of sum up how I really handled the situation. To say there's one thing that gets you through all this is impossible. To say, there's 5 things, there's still more. But I was able to find 3 things that I thought really helped. And for me, one was to have a sense of humor about the whole thing. If the situation is so serious that everyone is going to be stressed out and everyone's going to be sad, and you're going to have to deal with your parents crying every day, and I don't cry really, but over the last 2.5 months I feel like I'm just a freaking baby, But so I think a sense of humor was great. It was even, to keep the nurses in a good mood. They're working 12-hour shifts, and if they're in a good mood, it really helps out, you being in a good mood, your therapist. When we would play pass with a ball and a therapist would drop it, I'd really give it to him because he doesn't have a broken neck, He's expecting me to catch it, yet he can drop it. I don't get it. And so a sense of humor for the whole thing, it really helped me, it helped my family. My parents have a great sense of humor, and we were able to really to bond through that. And the second thing is to really let others help me. I couldn't have been through this alone. There's no way anyone goes through this alone. It is one of the scariest things you'll go through, and if you don't have people there that you're willing to let help you, then really you're not giving yourself the best chance to succeed. I had such a good support group that, I like to say I was on my back the whole time, and I have people doing everything for me. My parents do everything for me, being fed by my girlfriend and her parents. It was just, it was a lot I didn't ask for it, but it was a lot to receive. And, I feel like a pretty special guy to have those many people wanting to help me and wanting to be on my side and wanting to be there for me. So that's the second thing. And the third thing for me was your perspective on life. I know that's easy. It's real easy to say, yeah, be positive, be positive. It's said all the time in hockey, but 90% of people don't believe that. It's tough to be positive in hard times, and you can say a lot of positive things, but if you really don't endorse it, if you don't take it with you through everything you do, then there's no point of even bringing it up. I mean, to look at my situation and be upset about it would be an absolute, waste of time. It'd be a huge fault on my part, because I say luck, but the doctors that I dealt with, they don't use luck, because, I told them, I said, is it like, I don't know if you guys play the Powerball, but I have dreams of winning it, and I said, is it like winning the Powerball? And he said, it's, more like winning it 2 or 3 times. So to have him say that, and then to have that kind of in your head, you don't want to have survivor's guilt, but you really want to be aware of what you have, because it can be taken away from you so quickly. That's why when people come in and they say to me, I'm so sorry for everything that you've gone through. I haven't gone through anything compared to everyone I met at Craig and what they're continuing to go through. So when people say to me, when you look at the glass half full or half empty, I just say I'm happy to have a glass, because honestly, I am so grateful for everything that everyone has done for me. That my perspective on life has completely changed. I took for granted playing at this university. I thought it was, owed to me because of what I did in juniors and how I played hockey. It was a gift that's given to you, and the people that were around me, my family, my teammates, my friends, you don't ever once think that they're just gonna not be there one day. And when everything can be taken away from you in a split second, it kind of changes things for you. And my whole perception now is that I just want to embrace what I have and really cherish it, because it's a split second in time when things change, and when things change, sometimes they change forever. So that's about it for me.